you understand why processed food is a problem. You have built the bowl in your head. You know what goes in it and why. And now you're standing in front of your dog's food dish wondering, how do I actually do this without making my dog sick? That fear of getting the transition wrong is the last thing keeping most people from making a change. This video removes that fear. Not with reassurance, with a protocol. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to transition your dog to raw food, the pace, the stages, what to watch for, and how to read every response your dog gives you so you know whether to keep going, slow down, or hold where you are. By the end of this video, you will have a clear plan, not a set of rules to stress about, a plan. I'm Dr. Gunaim. I'm a veterinarian, PhD in veterinary microbiology and immunology, founder of Raw Choice. I have been guiding dogs through raw food transition since 2016. If you have watched the first two videos in this series, you have done more preparation than most people who attempt this transition. You understand the gut as an immune organ. You know what goes in the bowl and why each component is there. You have probably already sourced your first ingredients. What you may be feeling right now is a particular kind of anxiety that comes just before doing something new. Not doubt about whether it is the right thing, doubt about whether you will do it correctly. I want to name that because it is the reason more people abandon this transition than any other, not because the dog reacted badly, because the owner did not have the framework for interpreting what they were seeing. And when something unfamiliar happened, they assumed it was wrong and stopped. What I am about to give you is that framework so that nothing your dog does during this transition surprises you and nothing stops you from completing it. Let me start with the most important principle of any dietary transition. The gut microbiome does not change overnight. It is a living ecosystem, one that has been calibrated for months or years to process whatever your dog has been eating. When you change the substrate, the microbial population has to shift. That shift takes time, and while it is happening, the gut is doing something that looks from the outside like instability. That instability is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is changing. The goal of a well-managed transition is to give that shift enough time to happen without overwhelming the system. That is why I use a gradual mix-in approach. And here's exactly what that looks like day by day. The protocol runs 10 days. 3 phases, 1 rule above everything else. Start with 1 tablespoon. Not 1 scoop, not 1 full meal, 1 tablespoon mixed into your dog's current food on day 1. I know that sounds like almost nothing. That is the point. Your dog's gut has a bacterial community that has been calibrated to its current diet. 1 tablespoon is an introduction. It is not a disruption. And pace is what makes this work. On days 1 to 3, on day 1, 1 tablespoon mixed in. On day 2, 2 tablespoons. On day 3, 3 to 4 tablespoons. You are now at roughly 10 to 15% of the total meal as raw. Most dogs show immediate interest in the raw portion. They often eat it first. Energy may start to increase day by day as of day 3. If your dog is eating both portions cleanly, you are on track. Now for phase 2, this is where most people misread the signs. And I want to be direct with you about what is going to happen here, because this is the phase where most transitions fail. Not because something went wrong, but because the owner did not know what they were looking at. On day 4, when you are at 25% or more raw, and on day 5, when you're almost at half the bowl being raw, that's when the gut microbiome begins to shift in earnest. All bacterial populations are declining, new ones are establishing. This can show up in the stool, loose stool, mucus, or some gas production. This is normal. It is expected. It does not mean stop. Loose stool at this stage is a microbiome shift, not a reaction. The gut is recalibrating. Mucus in the stool is the intestinal lining responding to the change in its microbial population, which produces the goblet cells that line the gut will increase mucus production as the bacterial population around them is changing. It looks alarming. It is biology. Gas is a predictable output of the fermentation pattern changing from carbohydrate dominant to a protein and fat dominant food. It resolves as the new microbial population establishes itself and stabilizes. Now, you want to keep in mind that some of the things you want to watch for are actually concerning, such as genuine distress, vomiting more than twice in 24 hours, complete refusal to eat for more than 24 hours, blood in the stool, or extreme lethargy. Those warrant a pause and a call to your vet. In the transition, everything else, loose stool, mucus, gas, is the transition working? The most important thing I can tell you about days 4 to 6, most owners who stop at that day, they never see the results that come on day 8 and beyond. The transition was working, they just did not know it. Phase 3, days 7 to 10, is the reveal. Now, most of the ball is almost raw and you're almost fully transitioned. This is the phase where the results become visible. The microbiome is stabilizing, stools begin firming up, and they become smaller in volume, which is exactly what you want. Raw food is highly bioavailable. Less waste is produced. By days 8 to 10, most dogs show noticeably more energy. Coat texture begins to change, softer and reduced shedding. Breath often improves, and if your dog had chronic itching before the transition, the early signs of change in the skin often appear in this window, even if the full resolution takes longer. One group for whom this protocol needs modification before you start is if your dog is currently on immunosuppressive medication, corticosteroids, cyclosporin, or similar. Please speak with your veterinarian before beginning. Immunosuppressed animals have a different risk profile for dietary transition. This is not a reason to avoid the transition, it is a reason to do it with appropriate clinical oversight. I put together a free step-by-step transition guide with the full 10-day plan, a day-by-day signal tracker, and clear instructions for what to do if something looks off. It's available at drgunaim.com, and the link is in the description. Let me give you the 2 rules that govern the entire 10-day. Rule 1, if the stool is firm and your dog is eating well, advance to the next day's amount. Rule 2, if you see loose stools lasting more than 3 consecutive days, your dog is eating less than half of the offered meal, or you see a single episode of vomiting, slow down. Go back to the previous day's ratio for 2 to 3 days before continuing. Do not stop. Slow down. After day 10, the general feeding guideline is 2 to 3% of your dog's ideal body weight per day. A 30-pound dog needs approximately 270 to 410 grams. A 50-pound dog needs approximately 450 to 680 grams of food. Start at 2% and adjust based on energy, weight, and stool quality. Active dogs need more. Less active dogs need less. The dog in front of you is always the most accurate guide. I want to put this protocol in biological context, so it makes sense not just as a plan, but as a process. The gut microbiome is one of the most responsive biological systems in the body. It begins shifting within 24 to 48 hours of a dietary change. What takes time is not the initial response, it is the stabilization, the establishment of a new microbial community that is well suited to the new substrate, diverse and resilient. A dog that has eaten dry kibble for 3 years has a microbiome calibrated for high starch, low moisture, and low microbial diversity. You are asking that system to reorganize around animal protein, fat, raw bone, and for the first time, a meaningful live microbial load from the food itself. That reorganization is not a problem. It is the entire point. The tablespoon doubling method works because it gives the system time to reorganize in graduated stages rather than all at once. Each small increase is a new introduction. Each hold period is recovery time. By day 10, the microbiome has had 10 days to rebuild rather than 24 hours to survive a shock. The temporary symptoms of days 4 to 6 are evidence that the system is responding. They are the cost of moving from one calibrated state to a better one. You do not get the results of days 8 to 10 without moving through days 4 to 6. Here's where I stand. The 10-day transition is manageable for the vast majority of healthy adult dogs. It requires patience, observation. It does not require perfection or anxiety. In my experience, the dogs that struggle most during transition are not the ones with sensitive stomachs. They are the ones whose owners panicked at the first loose stool on day 4 and either pushed through it too fast or abandoned the transition entirely, stopping just before the phase where everything stabilizes. Your dog's gut will tell you everything you need to know if you know how to read it. Firm stool and good energy. Advance. Loose stool, more than 3 days, slow down. Go back one step. Blood, repeated vomiting, lethargy, or refusal to eat, pause and call your vet. Everything else is the transition working exactly as it should. You have done the hard part already. You understand the biology. You have built the ball. 10 days from now, you will have something more valuable than any marketing claim, your own direct observations from your own dog. Here's what I want you to do today. Start day one. Take whatever raw food you have sourced, the muscle meat, the small amount of liver, the raw chicken neck, and add 1 tablespoon of it to your dog's regular meal. Mix it in, serve it. That is day one. Then watch. Most dogs go straight for the raw portion first. That immediate interest is not coincidence. It is the animal recognizing something it was built to eat. Write down what you observe. Stool quality, energy, appetite, code, 4 signals, 10 days. You will be surprised how much information your dog gives you when you know what to look for. The transition guide at drgunaim.com has the full 10-day plan, laid out day by day, a signal tracker for each response you might see, and the complete slowdown and stop criteria, so you always know whether what you are seeing is normal or not. Download it before you start. It will make every observation clearer, and it will keep you moving forward through days 4 to 6 when the biology gets temporarily uncomfortable and every instinct tells you to stop. This is a complete series: the why, the what, the how. If you have watched all 3 videos, you now have more evidence-based understanding of canine nutrition than most pet owners and many veterinarians have access to it in a single place. What comes next on this channel goes deeper. The gut-skin connection, the immune system and chronic disease, how to read your dog's long-term signals, how to source raw food you can actually trust, how to talk to a vet who may not share your approach. The 10-day transition guide is at drgunaim.com. It's for free, no deadline, built around the same biology we covered in this series. Link is in the description. Start day one. Watch the gut. Trust the process.